So today is April 5th. Today is April 5th, 2021. It's a Monday. Damn, these days going by fast. And since it was my little brother's birthday on the 3rd, I decided to do a video, which to me is a very emotional topic. But I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about a lot of crazy things. And a lot of the YouTube videos I've been watching is about stories behind killings, crime scenes, stuff like that. Um, I see channels, I see YouTubers pop up who go to grave sites and tell stories behind the people who graves they go to and how they's killed, why they's killed, who did the killing, things like that. I've heard stories about about children who were killers. And I don't know who these people keep. I heard stories about children who were killers. And huh? We're trying to get around. Okay. Um, but yeah, I like it's just been a lot of channels popping up where it's just like crime scenes and stuff. Um, I actually watched this one guy named Lamane Large, and over the years he's been doing a lot of videos where excuse me, I had to catch my breath. Yeah, but Lamane Large, he's been doing a lot of videos where he go to the grave sites and stuff, and he tells stories about people who were killed in very crazy ways. Um, and some of them crazy, but not too crazy. Um, so after watching him and many others, like a few other channels will pop up, and like most recently, I remember watching the I remember watching the Tupac interview years ago, and it keep popping up, and pictures of this interview keep popping up, and I remember him having a picture of a young boy behind him, but I never knew the story of who the boy was. Um, Never searched it up or whatever until a while later, like years later, most recently. Um, I was once again just bored and watching all these crime videos and stuff like that and all these crazy stories. And one came up about this little boy who was nicknamed Yummy. I actually just got a book about him that I found on eBay. Let me see. Um, so I have a book coming about this little boy named Yummy. And it says Yummy, The Last Days of Southside Shorty by Greg Neary. Excuse me. I think his name is Greg Neary. And it says it's a graphic novel based on the life and death of Robert Yummy Sandifer, an 11-year-old gang member from Chicago's South Side who was killed by his own gang members. And Yummy is the nickname of the same little boy who's in this, whose picture is being hung behind Tupac in this prison interview he did. And videos about Yummy will pop up on YouTube. And to give you more information, I'm gonna go on Wikipedia because he does have a Wikipedia page. So if any of my subscribers don't remind me reading, I will give you the information about um, Robert Yummy Sandifer. So it says Robert Yummy Sandifer, March 12, 1983 to September 1st, 1994, was an 11-year-old American boy from Chicago, Illinois. Sandifer's murder by fellow gang members in Chicago garnered national attention because of his age, resulting in his appearance on the cover of Time magazine in 1994, nicknamed Yummy because of his love of cookies. Standing 4'6", Sandifer was a young member of the street gang, the Black Disciples, BD. For any of y'all who know about Chicago gangs, after committing murder, arson, and armed robbery, he was murdered by his own fellow gang members who feared he would become an informant and that he was attracting too much attention towards their activities. Coverage of Sandifer's death and retrospectives on his short, violent life were widely published in the American media. Sandifer became a symbol of the gang problem in American inner cities, the failure of social safety nets, and the shortcomings of the juvenile justice system. So it's not too much to read. So well, like, even though this video is not pretty much about her, I still just want to, out of respect, give y'all some information for those who don't know who he was and the reason why I decided to make a video about this topic. But I just want to share some information. I believe it should be shared because this is a story that many of you may maybe not have heard, and I feel like it's a story that a lot of people should hear. And I'll tell you why I think that this is a story y'all should hear later after I'm finished reading about him. So, it says Robert Sandiford was born in Chicago, Illinois on March 12, 1983. Sandiford's mother, Lorena Sandiford, had over 30 arrests while prostituting, many of which were drug related. Sandiford's father, Robert Atkins, was absent throughout Sandiford's life due to incarceration for a felony gun charge. Sandiford was physically abused from the time he was an infant. Before he was 3 years old, Sandiford was already known to the Department of Children and Family Services, also known as DCFS. Physical examinations showed that Sandiford was alleged to have had cigarette burns on his arms and neck, as well as linear bruising consistent with physical beatings. Lorena initially blamed the abuse on Sandiford's father, although she later recanted. In 1986, Sandiford and his siblings were removed from his mother's home by DCFS and were sent to live with their grandmother in the Roseland neighborhood of Chicago. His grandmother's residence contained as many as 19 children on some occasions. By most accounts, his grandmother's home was not much better than Sandiford's previous home. Sandiford, by the age of 8, quit attending school and began to roam the streets, stealing cars and breaking into homes. At the age of 10, Sandiford was arrested on charges of armed robbery. A psychological examiner at the time reported, I hope I said that right, that Robert is a child growing up without any encouragement and support, and that he has a sense of failure that has infiltrated almost every aspect of his inner self. Yeah, excuse me, because I'm not probably pronounce these words wrong. Anyway, I'll read that over. At the age of 10, I'm going to read this sentence over. At the age of 10, Sandiford was arrested on charges of armed robbery. A psychological examiner at the at the time, reported that Robert is a child growing up without any encouragement and support, and that he has a sense of failure that has infiltrated almost every aspect of his inner self. In 1993, Sandiford and his siblings were removed from his grandmother's home and were sent to Lawrence Hall DCFS shelter on Chicago's north side, from which Sandiford ran away and never returned. From 1993 until his death, Sandiford's whereabouts and living arrangements remain unclear, although he continued to be arrested by the authorities. Sanford was known for bullying and stealing money from children in the community in the Chicago neighborhood of Roseland. He liked luxury cars and remarkably was able to drive them despite his small size. Many of his 23 felonies and 5 misdemeanors were committed in the course of running errands for street gangs. The penal system had no way to keep him out of trouble, and the courts were helpless to lock him away because he was too young for juvenile detention and too dangerous to be placed with children his age. He never got in serious trouble for his crimes due to his age. On August 28, 1994, Sanford was ordered to do a favor for his gang. He opened fire several times with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, striking several youths. Sanford quickly fled the scene. Among the victims was 14-year-old Sharon Dean, who was hit by a stray bullet and later died from her gunshot wounds. The crime spree made several headlines. The the crime spree made natural headlines. The nation was shocked by the brutality of the crime and the fact that the alleged perpetrator was 11 years old. The Chicago police began the manhunt for Sanford. According to Sergeant, is that what that SGT stand for? Sergeant Ronald Palmer of the Chicago police. Sanford's actions were a gang. Oh shit, my nose is fucking running. Excuse me. The Chicago police began a manhunt for Sanford. According to Sergeant Ronald Palmer of the Chicago police, Sanford's actions were a gang initiative gone wrong. On August 31st, while standing on the neighbor's porch after asking to call his grandmother, in whom he had the greatest trust, Sanford was met by brothers Craig and Derek Hardaway, aged 16 and 14, who were both members of the BD Street Gang, Black Disciples. If y'all forgot what BD stand for. Sanford was told he was being taken to a safe location and ordered into a waiting car. Instead, he was taken to a railroad underpass at East 108th Street and South Dolphin Avenue and told to get on his knees. While kneeling, Sanford was shot twice in the back of the head by the Hardaway brothers. Sanford's body was discovered by the Chicago Police Department in the early morning of September 1st. The Hardaway brothers were later convicted of Sanford's murder. Around 400 people attended Sanford's funeral, which was held at the Youth Center Church of God in Christ on Chicago's northwest side. So that is just an article. Please excuse me if I was mispronouncing words and had to read the sentence over and over. But that was an article from Wikipedia about Robert Yummy Sanford's life and death. And then Wikipedia also gives you the title of the book about his life that someone wrote, which I am getting from eBay soon. Yummy, The Last Days of Southside Shore, which is just a graphic novel by Greg Neary with art by Randy DeBerg, published by Lee and Little Books in August 2010. The story is about Robert Yummy Sanford, who was 11 years old in 1994 when he became a fugitive from justice after killing a neighbor girl while he was shooting at somebody else during the gang initiation. Neary creates a fictional narrator who watches what happens to Yummy when he seeks help from the gang he is trying to impress. Instead, they turn on him when he becomes too much of a liability to them. The book won the 2011 Coretta Scott King Author Honor Award and was named one of the best books of 2010 by Publishers Weekly Book List and Kirkus Reviews. It also has received 5-star reviews from Kirkus Reviews Book List, School Library Journal, the Bulletin of the Center of Children's Books, and VOYA. So, this is the list of awards and honors that this book received. 2012 Coretta Scott King Author Award nomination. 2011's ALA Notable Book. Publishers Weekly Best Books of 2010. Kirkus Reviews Best Books of 2010. Booklist Editor's Choice Best Books of 2010. 2011 YALSA Top 10 Quick Picks. 2011 ALA Great Graphic Novel for Teens. 2011, excuse me. 2011 IRA Notable Book for a Global Society. PW Comic Weekly fifth annual critic poll list. Chicago Public Library Best Informational Books for Older Readers of 2010. Sensational Books of 2010. 2011's, what did that say? Glyph, 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 excuse me, award nomination, third of the year. And then Kirkus Reviews described it by saying that a hunting ripped from the headlines account of youth gang violence with Chicago provides a backdrop for crucial mediation or right and wrong. Booklets added it was a horror and portrait. Yummy will earn both the reader's livid rage and deep sympathy, even as a social structure that created him a cast. Man, created him his cast once again as America's undeniable shame. For good reads, Yummy has an average 3.98 out of 5 stars. Wow. And I believe this book is also part of a documentary in the movie. Alright, so it's for anyone who watched this video, or those who will watch it, once again, I do apologize if I mispronounced words or had to read sentences over and over. But I just want to read everything correctly. So yeah, that is the story behind Robert Yummy Sandiford, who was well known as the young boy who pictures hanging behind Tupac in that prison interview. For those who haven't heard his story, um, so as I watch videos speaking on Robert's story and many other stories behind young children who were killed or young children who were part of gangs and stuff like that, it was just sad because I have three younger brothers, but two of them, they were young and they was on the streets and they had done things that they weren't supposed to do. Um, I can't say that they were doing things that Yummy and many of these other stories I've read done, but I'm pretty sure like there's around drugs and stealing stuff they had no business stealing or anything like stuff like that. Um, and it's just sad when you know somebody close to you, or even if they were close to you, but you know somebody who been through stuff like this. And I heard, man, like I didn't like trust and believe. Being part of Philly, I've heard stories. I've known people life who lives were like this. Um, and heard their stories. I went to school with people whose lives were much like this. They grew up being abused and being sent to whack ass uh, foster homes and orphans and stuff like that, and group homes and stuff. And then they keep getting locked up for doing crazy things, being sent to juveniles and stuff. And child protective services ain't really being true to their word and doing their job. And then they run away and join gangs and shit like that. They in and out of juveniles, in and out of prisons. Some of them may have lost their lives at a young age. Trust and believe. I've heard many stories like this, and I know plenty of people who've been through shit like this. Um, but it's just sad because, like I was saying, that I have two young brothers who were um, badass teenagers. Um, they're grown now. One I believe is still locked up or in a juvenile, or I guess, and the other one just recently came home. and changing his life around. Um, and it was just sad because like I was the type like don't get me wrong, when I was younger, of course I was bad at like I never sold drugs or was out there robbing people and stuff like that, but I had my fair share of doing shit I had no business doing. Don't all kids go out. It's like you're not around your no adults, you're not around your parents, you go out and be sneaky. But stuff I did was not as bad as most of these kids today. Like I said, I wasn't around drugs. I wasn't robbing nobody or killing anybody or anything like that. Um, and it just hurts. Like I said, when you got somebody that's close to you who's been through shit like this, or just somebody you know or heard their story, and it just makes you emotional when you hear they were killed or they knocked up or something. You be just wishing like, please change your life around, get out of jail, change your life around. Because like I said, because life is sad. You'll never know when it's gonna be too late. And this year you change your life around, or your life will be taken away from you. And just hearing Yummy's story, it said this boy was only 11 years old. And this is the life he had to live. And I done watched plenty of movies with stories like this. These young kids that want to be listening to rap music and they feel like the rap music is the life they should live. All because rappers are doing it, so they feel like they gonna get away with doing it as well. And then they walk around getting tattoos at a young age and wearing all these expensive clothing and robbing and stealing and killing it. It's just like, ugh. Um, it's just sad because he was only 11 years old. And this is the life he had to live because he felt like no one loved him. But then by the time he had that somewhat, very little bit of love, and he felt like he could trust people, it was already too late. Um, and I was just very thankful that I had enough sense not to even want to put my life in that situation where I felt like I could go out and be a hard head and hang around the wrong crowd or even want to be around the wrong crowd. I was that type of kid who I felt like if I felt like I wasn't getting enough attention and love by my parents, was the type of kid who just said fuck it. If I'm not getting loved by y'all, I want to spend night at somebody else's house. So I was the type of kid who always wanted to spend night at my aunt, my aunts and uncles' houses or another family member, or I would try my best to make friends in the neighborhood. And if I was comfortable enough, I'd go to their houses. Um, and trust and believe, there was a lot of badass kids, but I just choose not to hang around. I feel like if you were doing something that I knew was going to jeopardize my life and y'all trying to make me part of it, I wasn't going to hang around y'all. I remember times that I was in school with motherfuckers on the same bus and they lived in neighborhoods and they ain't fuck with me in school, but then they want to come showing up at my front porch talk about some Ken Damien come outside. If I don't fuck with y'all in school, I know not to fuck with y'all out of school. Because the same way y'all treat me in school, y'all probably gonna treat me out of school. Y'all probably gonna have me out there doing some crazy shit I ain't supposed to be doing. And then my ass end up in jail or dead. And no, I'm not doing it. Um, I might not have been the smartest, because like I said, I had my days where I did sneaky shit, but I was very smart because the sneaky shit I've done wasn't nothing like some of these stories I've heard. Um, like I said, I had the time to rob nobody, kill nobody, even physically harm anybody, to the point that their lives were jeopardized. Um, I just feel like it's sad. A lot of people, and I feel like a lot of these kids nowadays should take the time to read these stories and watch these documentaries and movies about these young children who didn't get their chance, whose lives were taken away from them, because it's not cool. You shouldn't have to want to join gangs and hang around the wrong type of people and feel like, okay, I'm gonna listen to these rap songs and I want to be like them and I want to do what they do, because being like them and doing what they do leads you to one day you ain't gonna be able to, to do what they do anymore, because, like I said, your life will be taken away from you. You can either end up in the juvenile for the rest of your life, you can end up in prison, or you might end up dead. And it's sad because I remember when I used to go to school. I remember when I was in school, I had people who looked at me the wrong way, and it was usually staff members, because I was one of those kids that was pretty much bullied, and I was also one of those kids that, because I was bullied, my behavior wasn't always the best. So I snap out on teachers, I snap out on students, I'll be always arguing and fighting. And people look at me the wrong way, like I'm gonna end up locked up, I'm gonna end up dead. Some people have made threats against me. Um, and I just got sick and tired of trying my best to prove them wrong. And I just also got sick and tired of having to feel like I had to prove them wrong. Um, it's just crazy. It really is. Like, it just bothered me because, like I said, I just thank God that my life wasn't like that, and I never took that wrong turn. And when I felt like my life was being jeopardized, I pushed myself away. There was times where I hung around people, and I felt like that I didn't have no friends, and since at that time they were being friendly, I just kept hanging around them, even when they did bad shit that did me wrong. I take my breaks, and then when I felt like everything calmed down, I keep going back, and then the more and more I kept going back, it just seems like the more and more shit just kept getting crazy and crazy. And this is speaking on one of my old friendships. I'm pretty sure that my subscribers heard about it because I talked about that friendship in several of my YouTube videos as well as my Facebook Live videos and my Instagram Live videos. That's how, like I said, that's how I felt in one of my first friendships because I trust this person because of what they told me when we first started being friends. They accept me for who I am. Shouldn't nobody pick on me because of my differences. They not gonna bother me. They don't see no problem with it, and I trust them. So with that trust, you start hanging around this person because you feel like you could trust them because of the words that came out of their mouth. After a while, when this it seemed like when you and this person are together by yourselves, um, everything is good and dandy. But then when this person is around other friends who might be more out there and they might be motherfuckers that got tattoos and feel like they about that life and stuff like that, they start acting different. They start acting different towards you because they feel like if they show their appreciation of you in front of these other friends, they'll be picked on and teased because of your differences and the fact that you're way different than the people they usually hang around with. Um, so like I said, and it's like I was saying, please excuse me because I'm over here paying attention to my phone stuff. Um, I just had to watch myself because they realize like they look at the person who you cool with social media pages and they see that y'all taking pictures together, y'all taking videos together. So then they be like, all right, so if you cool with me, I got some other friends you might be cool with. So here we are hanging out. Then we pull up on the other friends. And then I'm just like, well, I don't feel comfortable because at the end of the day, it's fucked up how you supposed to be my friend. And just because, oh, these used to be your friends way before me, you feel like, oh, now you scared because of my differences. You feel like they going to judge you and ask you why you hanging around me. And then my thing is, you got them on your social media page. If they not saying shit to you when they see pictures of us hanging together and videos of us hanging together, while they say shit when they meet me in person. So it just got to the point where I'm like, fuck it. I can no longer trust you no more because I'm not about to hang around with no flip floppy ass friend and treat me one way when we chilling by ourselves. And then when you get around other people, now you want to act different and pretty much ignorant. Um, so with that being said, I'm the type of person where I just stay in myself and I hang around certain family members and I got my friends I talk to on social media. And a lot of people may say the social media thing, which I could agree with on some occasions. But as for me, I made plenty of friends on social media. I had my good moments. I had my bad moments. But um, like I was saying, I made a lot of friends off social media, and the crazy thing about it is a lot of the friends I made off of social media happens to be straight. I've met them off of Facebook, um, YouNow, Periscope, many other ads. And throughout the years, we just been talking and talking, and they have broadcasts and our shows some love and support to them. And if I broadcast, they'll probably show me some love and support. Like, we just been cool over the years. I'm not gonna say we was always cool. We may have had our moments here and there, but we make it work. And the good thing about it is I don't have to go outside all the time and do crazy shit. Um, I chill in the house. I'll be on my laptop. Um, as everyone knows, when my friend Danny decides to call on Facebook, I talk to him. And if I could talk to any of my other friends, then I'll do that. But other than that, I'll just be chilling. People I go to a Paul, never want to go nowhere. No, my thing is, I didn't seen too much. I didn't learned about too damn much. I didn't been through too much. So I just choose to keep myself safe for as long as I can. And if being stuck in the house doing nothing but being on my phone and my laptop keeps me safe, then so be it. But I'm 28 years old now. I've been keeping myself, trying my best to keep myself safe for a long ass time. If I could do that for 28 years with all the shit I've been through, I'll try my best to do it for another 28 years. So, um, I'm about to end this video because I have been talking for a while, and I'll probably come back later and talk more on this topic and many other topics. So y'all like, comment, subscribe. Um, with that being said, um, my deepest heartfelt prayers go out to the family of Robert Yummy Sandiford and many other families who are victims of losing someone close to them due to gang violence or any type of violence or any type of tragedy. Um, my prayers continue to go out to DMX, who is um, pretty much fighting for his life. I'm pretty sure y'all heard about it on Twitter, Facebook, all over social media. Um, but I'll get back to y'all later. Like, yeah, I'll get back to y'all later.